I'm Whitney Rowell, and this is how you sell without selling out. Rogers That.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rogers Healy, and welcome to Rogers That, a podcast dedicated to selling without selling out. I want you to close your eyes real quick. I'm going to sing a little song to you. Close them. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi boo. That's the thong. That's we're going to keep that in there. That's the song that I think of when I think of today's miraculous founder. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. It's no coincidence that I have two daughters under the age of 2, and Disney and Elmo and everything princess themed is playing in our house nonstop. But when I think of bibbidi bobbidi boo, I think of a miracle. I think of someone waving a wand and touching it, and all of a sudden magic happens. And that to me is what a miracle is. The only thing I could think of that epitomizes a miracle is a mama and a mom. I met my friend Whitney Rowell a while back through serendipity, through my family, through family friends, through her family. Immediately hit it off. And part of my mission as a founder and as a leader and someone that gets to invest in relationships and people is every once in a while there's somebody, and my hair on my face is sticking up. Every once in a while there's somebody that just, you got to drop everything for. And you find a way to go and invest in them, invest in their future, and be a part of their journey. And that's what Whitney is and was to me when we first connected. I knew there was something there, and everyone believes in her, but I wanted to believe in her differently. And so Whitney has an incredible background. I'm going to read some stuff, but I wanted to start with, I said thong, but I meant to say song. So hopefully we can edit that somehow. But Whitney spent the first decade of her professional career helping other businesses launch and grow awareness across at least North America. She's got a background in public relations, digital strategy, marketing, and branding. She helped build a female founder network called Collective 31, which we're going to talk about because, good Lord, talk about a bonfire that is building more and more every single second. Has been featured in several publications thanks to her entrepreneurial efforts. Today, she is the founder and CEO of 2 companies, Miracle Milk Cookies and soon to be named Miracle Mama, which we're going to get to as well. Think of a mothership, and this is one of the ships under the mothership. Whitney's a dear friend of mine. She's a dear friend of my family. She is someone that has found a need, and she's created a business from it. And I think in the world of entrepreneurship, the relative easiest way / hardest way to make money is to create a convenience, because what that means is you are doing the work that no one else wants to do. So with all that being said, it is my pleasure to introduce someone that I have said since the day that I met her, Whitney will be one of, if not the most successful founder that we have ever been able to hitch a wagon to. And most importantly, above all these titles of wife, founder, friend, entrepreneur, leader, she is, ladies and gentlemen, the Miracle Mama.
Wow. That was the
thong thing kind of ruined it for a second.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of pressure now on me. I feel like that was a really great intro. Thank you.
Was it believable?
I
really just want you to autograph my cookies.
Oh, I would love to.
How many of these bags do you autograph per day? It's got to get so exhausting being out in public.
People stop me on the street and say, I have these cookies. Can you please autograph them?
But I want you to autograph the bag, not the cookie. That way we can still eat the cookie. But yeah, look, that's a really big intro, and it was heartfelt. None of this was on our little script. But yeah, maybe get us inside your head. Who is the Miracle Mama?
Well, it's a huge title. Honestly, like you said, I think every mama is a miracle. I fell into motherhood unexpectedly, now almost 9 years ago. And I didn't realize how, difficult motherhood would be for me, not necessarily being a mom, but just the early stage of becoming a mother and what that looks like, and just kind of the lack of support that was out there and is still out there in America for moms. And I really respect so many women around me who've done incredible things while they've become as their moms. But I think we're in an interesting time in our culture where women can really do everything. They can be a mom, they can be a founder, they can be a corporate leader. They can do all these things. And there's so much pressure on us. And so I think the true, in that, with all that pressure on us, a lot of times we lose sight of who we are and what we're trying to do and ourselves. And so I think with Miracle Mama, with this company that I'm building, I want to help empower moms to be the best they can be and be true to themselves and also feel the support that they need around them.
I mean, perfectly said. And again, it's you can't walk a mile. I'll never know what it's like to carry a baby or to be a mom, but watching Abby go through, again, I'm a responsibility freak, maybe a little bit of a control freak, but watching that first journey with her being pregnant with Henley, I was just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then, I think that husbands fall in love with their wives deeper during the pregnancy because the responsibility, is literally, it's all yours.
Right.
And I think that's the miracle of being a parent in childbirth. And I do think that women are the superior race to men. And I'm not just saying that because I am a girl dad and I love my wife. I bow down to women, my woman, shout out to Abby. But it's crazy. So what you did is you took it up a notch, right? And you saw a need. So you have your first daughter. What's her name?
Stella.
Shout out Stella, 9 years old. Spencer, shout out. Spencer has the biggest biceps in the game. Spencer, thanks. The first time I met him, he was wearing just a polo, and I immediately went and put a hoodie on, and it was 110 outside.
That's hilarious.
So tell us the journey to get here. Where again, you just in my ignorant caveman mind, being a mom, like you just kind of figured out. Right. And like we live in Dallas, Texas, in the United States. And she said, even as a mom in a first world country, the greatest country in the world, there's still struggles. Right.
Right. And well, it's interesting because you get pregnant, you go see your OB every couple months, you do all the things that you do while you're pregnant. And then you have a baby and they literally you take it home from the hospital. And it doesn't matter how many resources you have, what your background is, where you're from. I mean, you can relate to this because you have 2 little girls. You take a baby home and you're like, how the hell am I supposed to take care of this human being? Like, why did they give me this baby? Yeah. There's not a roadmap. There's not a plan in place. But what I thought was so interesting is I was getting all the support for my baby and not for me. And I was the first of my friends to have a baby. And I had one friend from high school who texted me when I was 2 weeks postpartum. I was really struggling. My husband didn't understand what I was experiencing. I just didn't understand. I didn't know how to feed her right. I didn't have the support I felt like I needed. And I opened up my front door and there was a plate of fresh baked lactation cookies on my front porch and a little note.
Slow that down again. What was it? What kind of cookies?
Lactation cookies.
Again, a term I didn't know about 3 years ago.
Well, it's funny because I didn't either. But a friend from high school texted me, a friend I hadn't seen in years, and she said, hey, I heard you had a baby. I made you a plate of fresh baked lactation cookies and they're on your porch. And I had no idea what a lactation cookie was. Like we just said, like, what is a lactation cookie? But so I acted like I did know what it was. And I said, thanks so much.
Finally. Yeah.
Opened my front door. On the porch was a plate of homemade lactation cookies and a little Post-it note. It was blue and just said, you've got this. And that was the first time that someone in that 2-week period since I had my baby saw me. It was for me. It wasn't for the baby. It wasn't for anyone else. It was for me. And so I put those cookies on my kitchen counter. I put that Post-it note on my fridge and I was like, okay, this is for me. And I Googled lactation cookies because like I said, I had no idea what they were and discovered that they actually typically help with milk supply. And so I started eating these cookies and I was making so much more milk. And as a mom, when you're literally sleep deprived, you're recovering from having a baby, you're trying to just like literally survive and keep your hormones in check. Feeding your baby is really stressful if you can't make enough milk. And so I felt like kind of like a failure as a mom during those first couple of weeks because my baby was so hungry all the time and I just couldn't feed her. But when I ate those cookies and I made more milk, I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I went online to order more fresh baked lactation cookies and couldn't find any. And I love to bake. Like I've made this cookie recipe I started making in like elementary school and everyone called them Whitney's cookies. It was an oatmeal chocolate chip cookie recipe. I would make them for like I would bring them to school. I'd make them for parties. In college, I would like bring them to people's houses when everyone was hungover.
Somebody brings a beer and Whitney's here with the
No,
cookies.
seriously, people were like, bring the cookies. It was so funny. I just love to bake. It's kind of a stress relief for me too. So I was like, well, I'm going to make these for myself because I can't find fresh baked lactation cookies online. And so I just found that brewer's yeast and flaxseed and oats are the 3 most common milk boosting ingredients, all natural ingredients. I already had oats in my oatmeal chocolate chip cookie recipe. So at the time we were living by Whole Foods. So I put my little baby in the stroller. We walked over to Whole Foods. We bought brewer's yeast and flaxseed, came home, and I made so many cookies. And I just kind of played around with how much brewer's yeast, how much flaxseed, how much milk am I producing? And I was pumping and I could see like all this milk. And my husband came home and he was like, oh my gosh, your cookies, you're baking again. Because I hadn't baked in like, since I had my baby. And he was so excited. And so he started eating the cookies. And I was like, no, these are for me. These are my cookies. These are lactation cookies. I mean, it would be awesome if we could make men lactate, but they don't work.
Stay tuned for more. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I made the cookies. I was making more milk and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. But like I said, I didn't have any friends who had babies at the time yet, except for that one friend from who made me the cookies. And so I thought, okay, one of these days, my friends are going to have babies. And if I'm struggling with this, they're probably going to struggle with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and post my recipe to a blog. And because like after graduating from college, I moved to New York City and I started a blog. And I thought, no one reads my blog, but I'll just send this link to all my friends when they have babies. And so I called the recipe the Miracle Milk Cookie because I didn't want to call it like lactation cookies or like breastfeeding cookies because none of my like 5 followers were moms yet. And so I called it the Miracle Milk Cookie. And that's kind of how this all started.
This is crazy. So this is in what year?
This was in 2015.
All right. So it's 2015 and you have, I hate to use the term. It's not even a side hustle. It's just like a side passion.
It wasn't even a passion. I mean, it was, I like to bake. So baking was my passion, but I had this recipe on my blog called the Miracle Milk Cookie. And the blog that I had started when everyone was launching street style blogs years before. Again, like I didn't even use the blog, but I thought this is a platform I can just post this on.
The blog is also probably a form of, it's a therapy in itself.
Right.
Right. And I think, I hate to use this term, maybe whatever, misery loves company.
For sure.
Right. And I think that as a current sleep deprived, dad, it's like all I talk about. I feel bad. But then you meet someone who also is tired, you're like, oh my gosh, brother. Right. And it makes you feel like it's okay. Makes you feel like it's okay to, be a little bit wacky, a little bit zany. But, as a mom, the child literally depends on you to eat. And so you're able to go and do that. If you have 5 followers, that gives you a reason to keep doing it.
Right.
At what point did you decide to go and also put together, a group of other females that maybe were in similar situations? Because the Collective 31 thing to me is so valuable. But was that after you decided to be? They
were both. Actually, I built them together at the same time in 20.
Of course. Have get married.
Why not? Have
a child and start 2 businesses. Yes.
Well, so at the time, this was very organic and it has been since day one, but the Miracle Milk Cookies recipe was on my blog. Then I didn't touch the blog for 2.5 years.
Really?
Didn't touch it, didn't see anything. I was pregnant again with baby number 2.
Shout out to
Charlotte.
Hey, Charlotte, Stella, how you doing?
Who is now 6. And I was pregnant again. And I went on the back end of that blog because I was like, oh yeah, I wrote that recipe so many years ago when I was pregnant with Stella 2 years ago. And I realized that blog that one post had 300,000 hits on it. And I was like, what? Like I said, I had 5 followers, hadn't touched a blog in 2.5 years since I had the baby. And I was like, what in the world? And so the blog was on Squarespace. So I traced the analytics back and someone had pinned it on Pinterest, who then it was repinned 40,000 times. Pop Sugar had written about it. Health Magazine had
You didn't know?
No, I had no idea. This blog post, the Miracle Milk Cookie, had gone viral.
You went viral and you're living like in the Amish farms of Pennsylvania without even knowing.
No idea. I had no idea.
Churning your own butter, like organic butter. But golly.
Yeah, no, I had no idea. And so I was like, okay.
Can that get me canceled? I love Amish people. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we love all the Amish people.
Yeah. Buy the cookies.
So yeah, no, it had gone viral. And so at this point, this was 2017. I was pregnant, like I said, with baby number 2. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is business. Like I have to turn this into a company because all these people are making these cookies at home. I know for a fact my customer does not want to make these cookies at home. Like if I were a mom, I'd want someone to make these for me, like my friend made for me. So like anyone who has no idea what they're doing, I decided, well, I mean, I've always been very entrepreneurial, but I was like, I'll just launch a company. I'll just launch this cookie company. So I created a website on Shopify. I called my girlfriend who was an attorney at the time. I said, hey, I want to trademark the name Miracle Milk Cookie. And she like had her trademark friend look into it. And he was like, well, Miracle Milk is owned by L'Oreal. You can't trademark that. So I played around with Miracle Milk Cookies, how we did it. So but Milk Cookies was available. So I got Miracle Milk Cookies trademarked. I set up a website. I got the domain. I did all those things that
How many children at the time?
Pregnant with baby number 2. I was 7 months pregnant. I had a 2-year-old.
See, then this is a genuine glimpse into, this is why you're so investable and you're going to figure it out. You have a 2-year-old.
Yes.
You're 7 months pregnant.
Right.
You're starting 2 companies at the same time, learning how to use Shopify, learning how to build a website. You have a trademark attorney. You figure this out. Again, that's the miracle of moms in general. You're creating time, right? How much sleep were you getting a night at this time?
Oh gosh, I don't even know because my 2-year-old's probably sleeping with us, coming in at night.
So again, it's just like you didn't even know you had a ship to burn, but if you did have it, you literally took diesel and lit it on fire, and all of a sudden it's like you're already on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah, it was wild. So I on our kitchen counter we had these like little white marble countertops. I took a picture of frozen cookie dough balls because I was like, people want frozen cookie dough, right? And fresh baked cookies. And then I uploaded them onto my website, Shopify, miraclemilkcookies.com. And then we left for Vail for like a month to be with our friends who had a house there. And so we were driving up the mountains. The boys were in one car, my friends' husbands and Spencer. And then I was in the car with all the girls who none of them had kids yet. It was just me. I had my 2-year-old, super pregnant. We're driving up the mountain and I was like, oh my gosh, y'all. I'm getting all these orders. And they were like, my friends were like, what have you done? Because like they've known me forever. I've always started companies. They were like, what have you done? What is this? And I was like, well, I launched a lactation cookie company. And they were like, what are you talking about? So I told them like about the viral blog post. And I was like, there's an opportunity here. And I was like, hey, I'm like people are ordering frozen cookie dough balls and they live in Las Vegas. How do I ship frozen cookie dough balls? And they're like, why would you try to ship frozen cookie dough balls? What are you doing? Also, I didn't say how many cookies were in one order. I just said it was $34 for a lactation cookie and people were ordering them. So I was like, okay, this is insane. And so I called up one of my friend's brothers owned a Pokios franchise thing in Waco. He had like a Pokios truck and I called him. I was like, how do you ship frozen cookie dough? He's like, you don't ship it. Like we have a freezer truck I was like, oh my gosh. So I got back home to Dallas. This time I'm like super, super pregnant. I had to email the customers and say, sorry, I'm traveling. I don't I can't make your cookies right now. I'll get to them when I get back.
Your baby can wait to eat.
Yeah, your baby can wait. I get back to
Do
Dallas.
you have a Whole Foods down your street? Yeah.
Yeah. Get back to Dallas. I make all these cookies. I go to Container Store. I buy bakery boxes. I buy tissue paper. I have no idea what I'm doing, like I said. And I refund all the frozen cookie dough orders and I ship out the fresh baked cookies. And I just say, like, let me know how these taste when you get them. I got emails back like 5 days later. The cookies were great, but they arrived in 1 million crumbs. And I was like, oh, how do you ship cookies? Like, how do you do that? So all that to say, it was a lot of trial and error. And I thought, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm literally about to have this second baby. At the time, I was doing marketing consulting here in Dallas, and I had like 7 clients. So I had to run that business too. And so I decided to do a farmer's market pop-up at St. Michael's. My grandparents had started the St. Michael's Farmer's Market. They're so cute. And they were like, why don't you pop up a little booth and see how it goes? So I was super pregnant, opened up I did a little farmer's market. And my grandmother.
Because that's what you do, right? You start 2 businesses. You're 8 months pregnant. You've already shipped your cookies to Vegas, cookie dough. You have Stella, who's almost 2. Let's go to the farmer's market and set up an actual shop.
So I have to send you, I have a picture. I got this huge sign made. I set up a whole thing. And so all these people started walking by and looking at my cookies. I was super, super pregnant and I had Stella with me and Spencer was helping, my parents. So my grandmother grabbed this pregnant girl and she brought her over to me and she was like, Whitney, this girl is pregnant. She can be a customer for you. And this girl's name is Natalie Yates. And Natalie walked up and she was like, hey, this is cool. What is this? And I said, these are lactation cookies. I have a company called Miracle Milk Cookies. We bake fresh cookies for breastfeeding moms. And she was like, oh, I love this. She's like, I'm actually in finance.
Is it Brad Yates' wife?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That's
Oh, you know Brad?
yeah. He's like he was my sister's roommate. They're best friends. I've known Brad since he was like 8.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, actually
Okay.
since he was 5.
So you know Natalie.
Yeah, duh. They have a very fun life. They don't live here now.
Their life is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it was Natalie. And
No way.
Yeah. She was like, I'm in finance, but I love photography. I'm doing newborn photography on the side. I'd love to help you. I can take your cookies to my clients. And also she was like, I, have a background in private equity. I would love to just like help you figure out your financial model. She's like, I guarantee you're not making a profit right now. Can we just sit down? I'd love to help you. And I was like, absolutely, because I don't even know what I'm doing, but I know that this is a business. So we sat down. This was in July of 2017. I was due in August with number 2. And she said, okay, let me just show me your numbers. I showed her everything. And she was like, you are literally losing money right now, because I was buying all of my products at Whole Foods.
That's okay.
And I didn't know. And all the things I was doing out of passion. And she said, you're a sales and marketing person. You need to focus on that. You need to get everything out of your house. You need to find a baker and make that your goal this year. Find a baking partner for you. Like if you can get it out of your house, then you can really grow this thing. So then I spent the next literally like 11 months meeting with every single baker. Time
out, 11 months. So you have Stella, and then what happened after the farmer's market show? Did you have another human?
Though, yeah. Then I had Charlotte.
So the next 11 months with another child.
So yes. I had Charlotte, who literally would ride around, and I was like committed to breastfeeding her for a year. So I would take her with me everywhere. Stella was at the day school at the time, a little and I took Charlotte with me to every single meeting with every single baker I met with.
Where they like have to say yes if she's with you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But they all said I was crazy.
Really?
They said there's no way we can take your recipe, because what I would do is I would bake a fresh batch of cookies and I would take it with me. I again had no idea what I was doing. I take it with me to different bakers. I'm not going to name names because you probably know a lot of them. People who have like really successful restaurants here in Dallas. I was asking them if they could bake in their kitchen, or I could rent their space, or I could utilize. And I would take the cookie to them and say, "Hey, can you?"
That's why you're going to win. It's like you find a way. Like I've told people, I had a date to prom every single year because eventually there was a girl whose boyfriend, like, I was like, oh my, really? I was like, it's like, all right, if you ask enough girls to prom, you're going to go. And yeah, I remember the one that went with me. That's I'll interview myself on the podcast one time, but that's what makes people like you win, right? Is that you just don't know how to say, it's not how to take no, but like you're going to navigate, and like you're going to go straight to McDonald's versus email their corporate office, and I think that's what's part of the story that's so wonderful. But what was the first time you actually found that? Like, did you know what the term 3PL was, or co-packing, any of that?
No, I didn't. But this is where Collected 31 comes in. So one thing that Natalie said to me is, so many girls in Dallas. I grew up in Dallas, that have incredible businesses. They're not necessarily in the CPG world, but they probably know somebody who knows somebody. Why don't you just start meeting with them? And I was like, great idea. So then
let's start another company.
But no, this wasn't even, it wasn't an idea. It was like the company. So anyway, it started very organically. So I started meeting with, every week, I would just meet with a different founder in Dallas. Christina Lynch with Miga Andrina, Catalina Gonzalez with Dondolo, Lizzie Duplantis with Maren Crosby Boots. I just asked them, who do you use for fulfillment? Who does your website? Who does your packaging? How do you find this? Who do you use for that? And what I started realizing is every single person would connect me to someone else, but they also didn't know the other person, or they would say, oh, I've been wanting to do a coffee with this girl. You should connect with her, but I haven't had a chance to. And I've been super busy. We all have like little kids at home, or we're about to have kids. And I thought, okay, I'm meeting with all these incredible women. They've all been super helpful because they all like want to help support me. Why don't we like start something together where we can all like meet once a month?
Yeah. Again, like 2 kids, you already have a business, let's start another company.
But it was such an organic thing. And the thing I loved about it was I felt like I could grow further, faster meeting with these people. And I wanted other people to have that opportunity and also we were all kind of at the brink of like launching something. It was, some people had successful businesses, but we all like were hungry for more and to learn.
Do you mind like giving a few, like name a few companies that we would know? You said Muir and Crosby, Dondola.
Dondolo, Mira Cosby.
Dondolo, sorry.
The Defined Dish, Live, Love, Pop. Poppy. It was Mother Beverage at the time. Allison. So it was, I met with a lot of people. And,
by the way, just a handful of those companies you just named are literally multi-billion-dollar brands now. But I'm saying, like, you're a shepherd, and you're like, if you were a dog, you'd be a shepherd, and a shepherd brings together, this is a compliment. If you were a dog, I'm like, you would be a mutt. No, but like a shepherd's gift is to corral all of the other leaders, and you have the gift of just being the person that is the magnet. And again, these leaders, they're great leaders, they're great women, they're great founders, they're great moms, but you're the common thread, and that's what's so fun about just watching this happen over the last like 6 months of really working with Whitney and her team. Just seeing how it's happened so organically is so natural, which to me is another, like, it just gives you that literal boost that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? And like the world has not seen you yet like they're going to, but all these things start to happen where, again, like you can't say no to it, right? But then you have to realize too, you still have a family, right? You still have this. So you start Collective 31, you start putting these groups together. What happened then?
So in August of 2018, I also like manifested this. I said, August, which is World Breastfeeding Month, in August, I will find a co-packer. I will make this happen. And I met through one of our Collective 31 meetups, I met the founders of To and From Gifts. They were reward style girls who'd gone on to start a corporate gifting company. And they said, oh, we've been using Wacom. Paul Wacom, he makes these really great crunchy cookies. Maybe he can bake your cookies. So through Collective, I met with Paul and Garland, and I brought him my cookie and I said, can you make this? And he said, I can. And I was like, please show me. Because every single person I had met with was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. So anyway, he baked the cookies. They tasted just like they did from my oven. That was like a huge part of our business. They had to be handcrafted, fresh baked, taste like they're from the oven, soft baked. And he didn't make soft baked cookies. So it was like trial and error, but it worked. And anyway, that was August of 2018. So then in October, I sent an email out to every single person I had met with through in this group of women. And I said, hey, To and From Gifts, who I just met, they opened a cute little house on Bull Street, and we're going to have a coffee for everyone that I've met with. And we'd love for you to come. And at the time, Shelley Slater, who was a news anchor for Channel 8, had just left Channel 8 and was launching her own strategy company to help people with one-liners, like founders come up with their like elevator pitch. And so I had her come, and she spoke when she came to tell us how to like define your one-liner. And so I literally sent the email out 8:30 a.m. that morning. Every single person showed up for this coffee. And it was so cool because everyone in that room was there to learn, share, and just be a part of this community. Because
who was the common thread with all of them? Who was the one connection that they all were connected to?
I guess to me.
Yeah, it's you.
But it was really cool because, I think the one thing about it was every single one of these women, like, they had brought something to me and I wanted to give something to them. It was very mutually beneficial to everyone because we all had said we wanted to like get together. And as a founder in the space, also as a mom, as a wife, it's kind of lonely. You can be really feel really isolated. And so it was just really neat to see, and no one really wanted to leave. We were all there for a while that morning.
It's like you found your people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was great. And that was our first coffee.
Which gives you even more, gives you more fuel, right? It's like being a founder is really, it's lonely. Yeah. The only way to make it lonelier is to be successful and to be the only person doing something, which again, like you kind of still are in that space, but it validates it too, right? It's like you speak this language. You're like, oh my gosh, you're fluent in founderism, right? And it gives you just a reason. And again, for you to probably take a step back and look at this room that you helped create just gives you the reason to always be, kind of ahead of the game. And so you got Stella, you got Charlotte, and then did life just stop? What happened then? Did you decide to just go full-time in business?
No. So I still had my 7 clients.
Oh.
I still had Miracle Milk this was the funny thing about Miracle Milk. So when you have a cookie company or any type of food company in this world, like, at my house, I could produce about 4 dozen cookies a day. That was all I could do. Well, like if I wanted to launch this company and ship to all these other customers, I had to be able to produce a lot more than that. And so the recipe breaks at a certain point when you're trying to scale a recipe. So it's a science game. And so Paul, who's like a master baker, he's incredible. He took my recipe and scaled it up. So he said to me though, like, one batch for us is 86 dozen cookies. Do you have 86 dozen orders that I can ship these out to? Like, how are you going to pay for this? And I said, as a matter of fact, I do, even though I didn't.
Oh, 86 dozen? Yeah, of course.
I'll order 86 dozen cookies from you.
Have you seen my Pinterest page? Yeah.
So I immediately, in the process of building out Miracle Milk cookies and also talking with Collective 31, one person that I had, one group that in Dallas, The Tot, had just opened. It was a pop-up in Hallenport Village. They had a pop-up in West Lovers. And
somehow that company is on our credit card statement every month. Yeah, I've heard of The Tot.
The Tot, yes. Yeah. So I happened to, right before I met Paul, and while I was in the middle of all these meetings and Natalie was helping me, I walked my babies at the time, down to, because we lived right by the Tot at this time, in Briarwood. And I walked down to the Tot and I said, hey, I have a lot of local mom customers who order Miracle Milk cookies. I can't ship them because I learned that the hard way until I get my co-packer in place. But would y'all be interested in being a pickup location for me? Because I know a lot of moms, you want a lot of moms in your store. And I know a lot of my moms would love to come in your store. And this is a great opportunity for us to kind of help each other. And they said, great. So every week I would bring down like however many orders I had of cookies. And then customers would go into the Tot and pick them up and they get a gift card or a discount code to the Tot. So we helped each other. And so Nasiba, the founder of the Tot, was an influencer at the time here in Dallas who just moved from New York, and she's friends with everyone. So she was saying, she loved the concept of these lactation cookies that were fresh baked. She was breastfeeding her children at the time, her 2 boys. Now she has 4 kids. And so she would ship them out to her friends, Leandra Cohen in New York, who had the Man Repeller blog, which was huge. Kourtney Kardashian. All these people.
So you found a distribution center without knowing probably what a distribution center was at the time. And it happened to be owned by an influencer. And so you were getting free marketing. You had boots on the ground. And again, it just happened very organically, right?
Very organically.
And so then what happens? You continue to grow. Maybe you reach profitability. You don't have any more kids. You have 2 kids, right?
I had 2 kids at this point.
But no more kids after that?
Well, then I had another one.
Oh, you had another child. Of course. So you have another daughter. So we have Stella, we have Charlotte, and then
Rory.
How old is Rory now?
She just turned 3.
So 3, of course. And again, having a 3rd kid makes being a business owner easier.
Yeah.
Right?
So it
creates more time. And then, all of a sudden you're like, finally, I can pursue this full time. Right. And then it just all started to happen very naturally and it all takes off. And right?
Oh, yeah. It's so natural. Yeah. It's so easy.
No, that's not what happens. Do you have any dogs?
We do.
Oh, of course. How many dogs?
Well, we had 2. Sadly, we had to put one down recently, but we have a large golden doodle.
Of course. And having a golden doodle actually helps grow a business as well.
He's our 4th kid right now.
So here you are with 3 children.
Yes.
Under the age of 5 at the time.
Yeah.
Growing a business where you have significant revenue. You hit real milestones, $100,000 in revenue, $1 million in revenue. You've got a following. Your database is how many people?
At the time, we've at this point now we have like 40,000 subscribers, moms.
Subscribers. How many cookies do you think that you have made through Miracle Milk cookies?
Oh my gosh. Millions.
It's like if you go by McDonald's, it says like X billion burgers sold.
Yeah, I would like to know that number. I should figure that out.
Yeah, that's our homework for the day. We're going to go back and actually count. So, but you get to the point where, again, like I think a lot of entrepreneurs hit this, especially in consumer, where it sounds like a great problem, but you have more demand than you have supply.
Right.
Like maybe literally or figuratively, but you can't keep up. Right. And so you probably reached a point maybe a year or 2 ago where all these things start to fall into place and you have this mission. Obviously, your responsibility is always to your family.
Right.
So it's just like this crux where it's like you can't create a 25th hour in the day, but the word miracle, again, like it just surrounds you with all these different things. But maybe when we connected, where were you? Right. With Collective 31, you see these people that build billion-dollar companies that are finding success and success comes with real sacrifice. I don't care what anybody says, but the common theme we've had with pretty much every founder and every successful person on here, I ask them and I'll ask you, like, is there such thing as balance in your life?
No.
Yeah,
Doesn't
none.
exist.
None. It doesn't. But you reach a point where it's like, holy crap.